6:33. Okay, did you get, was that recording on, Phil?
I'll give it to you.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order. It's 6:33. Roll call of the commissioners.
Okay, Commissioner Capano? Absent. Commissioner Ellis? Absent. Commissioner Coogan?
Present.
Commissioner Trahan?
Present.
And Commissioner Lozey?
Present. Okay, minutes of the previous
Mr. Chairman, you
meeting.
want to put a hold on this for 5 minutes or so, see if they do come?
Do you want to,
I'll make a motion that
You want me to see if there's someone down the hall and see if I can?
yeah, that would be
Yeah,
helpful.
I'll take your seat, so this.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules and we'll just hold off for a recess, 5-minute recess.
Make sure that.
Meeting acknowledged that Commissioner Peter Capano has arrived and recess is over. And we're going to move to the item agenda of the minutes. Do we require, let me ask Sam, is this something that we can approve or?
I don't know that was in the package or any minutes to be approved. Or was there?
There's no minutes in the package, so I just figured they had a reason they held up.
All right, so we'll just wait until the next meeting.
Okay, we'll get the ball rolling and stuff.
Yeah, we did that. All right, so we'll move right into project updates. There are none to approve, so we'll have to wait till the next month. There should be 3 months worth
Yeah.
Yes.
of minutes.
October, November, December.
Okay.
So plan on next month.
4 months.
Well,
4 months.
Possibly.
we can speak.
Okay. All right, so project updates, who's going to take that?
Bob Tina.
Bob?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the plant performed very well, met all permit requirements for the month of December. Flow was high because we had 8 inches of rain. We were at 34 MGD. BOD and TSS were well within permit limitations. Gorelick Farms is continuing to give us some high BOD TSS. We're aware of it here and they're working on their problems. It's not causing the plant any the wastewater treatment plant any problems. The incinerator update, everything's on schedule, I believe, for the modifications for the air pollution equipment. And we're at a 90% design, I think, right now, Tony? So we're
Yes.
very close to having the completed design and the bid specs, and I imagine we'll be out probably within a month or two for bid. And the wind turbine, like I mentioned last time, we're working with the bonding company and to finalize the documents to get it painted this summer. So that's moving along. And that's my report.
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob?
Now, the wind turbine wasn't running today, right?
It shut itself down around 11 o'clock because of high wind gusts.
Okay,
And
well,
it started itself back
I was
up.
wondering if they get up to a certain,
Yeah, it does. And it started itself back up around 4:10 this afternoon. But it's gonna be shutting itself back down, so.
by when?
It's a safety feature.
Yep, built in right into
Yeah.
the computer, yeah.
Good.
You can always tell because the blades aren't at an angle. They're completely flat. And they're that's called feathering.
So they're not captured.
They're not capturing any wind at all, and that's when it shuts itself down. And if the gusts get over 40 knots, it'll actually turn itself around, its back to the wind.
Huh,
So there's 2 parts to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, the water treatment plant, the report, Rick?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. The Water and Sewer Commission is in compliance with all federal and state drinking water regulations. The water supply capacity as of January 4th was at 77%. The average for this time of year is 73%. And all 10 of the positions are currently filled at the water treatment plant. And that's the report.
Okay. Any questions for Rick? Rick, it's a little bit over average. Have you recalled years in the past going into winter like this?
We've had a couple of years where it's been up in the low 80s. It was basically as a result of the heavy rains that we received in early December. We shut down the Ipswich River and shut down the Saugus River at that time. It was just runoff. So since then, we actually were for a little while about 10% above average, and now it's the last several weeks we've backed down to about 4%. So
Thanks, thank you, Rick. Any questions for Rick? Okay. Moving on to the CSO update. I have
CSO update, our consultant's here, he can certainly update you on anything that's transpired.
The Commissioner's very brief update this month. We attended the public meeting on the 15th. We're in the process of finalizing the attendance list of the people who were there and signed in. And we also did a quick summary of those people that spoke and the nature of their question or concern. So once that's finalized in the next couple of days, we'll send that into the Commission for your review. That's it.
any questions for Tom?
Yes.
Commissioner?
In that summary, you're going to summarize what the concerns of the residents are, or is there a way that we can get the minutes of that meeting?
Well, I'm not sure that minutes were taken, but certainly the nature of the question or concern of those people that spoke were summarized by Eric Kelly from my office who attended, and he's in the process of writing all that up now.
Whereas it was a commission meeting for commission purpose, it should fall under the open meeting law. We should have some minutes for that. So somebody should work on putting the minutes together. I know there's a tape of it, and I see it played on the municipal channel over and over, so we should do that so that we're sure that we're in compliance. And if we could get a summary of those residence items, because I'd like to see that we somehow have that as discussion on the agenda here, and we can discuss how we're going to address those items. And that's a requirement of the 9 principles from 1994, U.S. Department of Environmental Protection. There are guidelines for what we have to do for CSO projects. So to be in compliance with that, I think we should address those.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Under business, adopt the 23rd supplemental resolution. Dave?
Sure, I can take that. As you may recall, at the December 8th meeting, gave me authorization to move forward with refunding some of the Commission's older bonds, the 2003, 2005 issues. We collectively met with our bond counsel, who's here this evening, Walter St. Orich from Edwards Wildman, our engineering team, Tony and his group, as well as our financial advisor, and we all are moving forward on a refunding of the bond. One of the first process would be to approve the legal side of it, which Walter's here tonight to probably explain a little bit to you. It's the 23rd supplemental resolution, and we'd be glad to answer any questions on that tonight if you'd like. Subsequent to this, we will be coming back to you at the February meeting with the engineering team. An official statement will be prepared for your review. And at the same time, the financial advisor will give us a pretty good update where the market is, because we hope to sell bonds in February. So maybe with that, Walter, could you just talk
Sure.
about the resolution?
Just briefly, the supplemental resolution is similar to the other 22 that came before it under the general bond resolution that the Commission had originally adopted. It provides for the terms of the bonds, the sale of the bonds, which would be on a competitive basis. That is, the Commission will issue the disclosure document and a notice of sale and take bids for the actual sale of the bonds later in February, as Dave mentioned. That will occur, though, after the preliminary official statement, which is the disclosure document needed to sell the bonds, which after that is prepared and will have been reviewed by you prior to going into the market in February. The actual delivery of the bonds will occur in March sometime. This is very similar to all of the other resolutions that have been adopted, and this provides solely for the refinancing of some of your outstanding bonds to reduce your overall debt service costs.
Walter, how are the markets looking?
Well, I'm a lawyer, don't take financial advice from your lawyer, that's the first thing I would tell you. But to date, the markets have been behaving quite well for this transaction. In other words, interest rates have stayed down. In fact, they may have actually improved a little bit as to where they were earlier last year when we first started to think about this transaction. But of course, we won't know what the actual rates are until we sell the bonds in February. One of the things that, for this transaction, we can't deliver the bonds until March. There's a federal tax law requirement that requires that the bonds be delivered within 90 days of the redemption date of the bonds that we are refinancing, which means, because the latest redemption date is June 1st, we have to deliver the bonds in March sometime. So that means there's a little bit of a timing issue. You can't sell the bonds too early and have a long period for delivery, or else you pay a premium in rate for that reason. So February, mid-February, I think, is the time that we're expecting to sell the bonds, if I'm correct.
Thank you. Questions?
How does this fit into the budget? The refinancing is going to lower our debt that we have under the budget. And how does that fit in? How's that going to be presented to us?
Sure, so I think as I had mentioned at the December meeting, we're looking at excess of $2 million in savings that will be predicated on the market when we do sell. As Walter mentioned, today's yield in the 10 years is down to 2%, which is as low as it's been since there was one day in 2013, and it hasn't been that low since then. So we feel strongly we're going into the market at a pretty good time next month or so. To answer your question, though, so those savings in excess of $2 million, we're going to smooth out with the existing debt schedule we have. So the savings won't be lumped all at the beginning and lumped all at the end. We're going to smooth it into our existing rate structure. And we as a team have looked at things coming our way, in 2020, 2021. We've got the O&M contract coming up at the plant, so we'll probably see a little spike there. Anticipating the chlorine work that may be coming our way, anticipating incinerator work that Tony's guys are working on for down at the plant, and the issues that were just prior to this, the whole CSO issue, we've got on our radar screen that we have to financially start preparing for that at some point in time. So that's all in the discussions with how we smooth the savings into the existing debt.
Past budgets that you presented, we've had $5 million in the FCSO work. What's going to happen in the budget for this year?
So there is no money for work in this refund. We're strictly refunding debt. It's like mortgaging your house. You get a lower rate.
Just want to see how the savings is.
The capital improvement plan is where we have monies for all the projects of the commission. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there is a line item for the start of the design of the CSOs in 2017 and 2018, I believe. So we'll be presented in the capital plan. This money will be allocated for it, per se.
Unless we decide to do that. That's why I wanted to know whether it's going to be directly allocated. That's a good choice.
So in future budgets, you'll approve the capital improvement plan and find the money accordingly.
We've been carrying a $5 million bubble that we've used, so we've increased the rate for that capacity. And we have exercised it as much as we could. Thanks for the information.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
that the 23rd supplemental resolution under the Commission's General Bond Resolution adopted May 31st, 1985 is hereby adopted in substantially the form presented to this meeting with such additions, deletions, and other changes thereto not inconsistent therewith as may be approved by the commission, the executive director, or the treasurer, in accordance with such resolution prior to the delivery of any of the general revenue bonds 2015 Series A, referred to therein, such additions, deletions, and any changes thereto to be reflected in the original copy of such resolution on file in the records of the commission, together with a certificate of such approving officer attesting to his approval of all such additions, deletions, and changes.
There's a motion. Do I hear a second on that?
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Motion.
will we be informed if there are any changes, the commissioners?
Yes, so we'll present an official statement to you, and the staff who are giving authorization to go forward will not make any non-material changes. Any material change would have to come back to the commission.
That's what
We don't anticipate any, but if there's a material change to what we're approving tonight.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to that motion to add that any material changes will come back to the commission.
All right, is there a second on that amendment? Second on the amendment, roll call on the amendment.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Fujian?
Yes.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Lutfi?
Yes. Okay, roll call on the amended motion.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Fujian?
Yes.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Lutfi?
Yes. Okay, next item on the agenda, the employment contract for the CPO.
I'll make a motion that if Betty's in favor, is all right with it, that we approve her contract. It's all written up right here, so I don't have any problem with it. So I'm making a motion that we grant her contract.
Is that for 5 years?
Yes.
It was for 5 years.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, can I ask a question? I wasn't sure. Was the vote you took on the amendment to the motion or on the
We took
actual?
both
You
votes.
took both, okay, I'm sorry, I missed that. I just wanted to be sure. Thank you.
So,
I think a second on that.
okay, and, all right, any other discussion?
Second that motion?
Yes.
Okay, motion made and seconded.
All right, roll call on that motion.
Yep. Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes, for that 5-year contract.
Commissioner Fujian?
Yes.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Lutfi?
Yes. Okay. Congratulations, Betty. Collective bargaining, who, that item?
We typically go in executive session. If you want to discuss it publicly, that's fine as well.
Discuss it right out here.
The status, if you want to give us
It's a report.
Sure.
So can we have the report?
Sure.
Great.
There are 2 units. Unit A has tentatively agreed to the provisions that we have discussed over several months, and Unit B has not agreed to the provisions. They're gonna go back to the board and ratify the contract, and typically when they ratify a contract, we would bring it to you and you would vote on it. If you wish to vote on it prior to their ratification, that's fine as well.
What's it, the A unit accepted the?
Yes,
Just vote on the A unit.
that's fine.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the A unit
Second,
contract.
Okay. Made and seconded, any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, roll call.
Okay, Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Fujian?
Yes.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Lutfi?
Yes. Okay. Under new business, discussion on FEMA grant money. Commissioner, that was,
Mr. Chairman. As I said at the public meeting that we had for public input on the CSO project, there appears to be 2 qualifying programs that we could make application to. One for recurring flooding and CSO problems, and one for ones that have substantial impact and damages caused. We have to make application through the state. The state makes the application through the state coordinator to the federal government for those funds. If we want a chance to have a good application that we actually get a large sum of money for this large project, we're going to need help. We're going to need to have good services from, I would say, our engineer of record, working with staff to put together a proposal that we can submit to the state. Do you have the resources and staff to prepare, help support our engineering staff and our department head to put together a proposal?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tie that into the CSO work that we need to fund to alleviate that problem?
To the extent that it meets the application requirements,
Right.
sure.
Great. You have great resources to do this?
Yes.
I think you have like, what, 3,300 employees or
Well,
something around
more
the country?
specifically, we have people that are very familiar with the FEMA program, and we can certainly support the commission on this.
Okay. Because I think that's important. I think from what I saw in looking through the 2 statutes, it looks like you're qualified. So I'd like to make a motion that we have our engineer, that's going to be our job, to work with the engineer of record to put together an application with the state coordinator for FEMA funds to be sent to the federal government. I need a second.
Mr. Chairman, on the motion,
Yes.
do we know what all this is gonna cost, and do we know that there's money there available? I mean, to hire someone just to go out, we don't even know if there's money available. I mean, I'm not voting to spend a lot of money when we don't know what's going on. That's where I'm coming from, right off the bat.
Could I suggest a friendly amendment that at this stage, why don't we explore those alternatives? I'm not aware of any current, other than grant monies for engineering, initial engineering and design. I'm not aware of any. Maybe, Tony, is there something that you're aware of directly?
Specifically now, no, other than the programs that Commissioner had suggested, but
It's 2 ongoing programs.
Could you look into it and report back to us at the next meeting?
certainly.
Okay.
Danny, do you know anything about this, or is there money, or is there money? Anthony, are you any dealings with this? Have you discussed this with the engineer of the record?
Through the fire department and the emergency management, Lieutenant Hines, we pursued flood related grants in the previously, and the money wasn't extensive, and it's amongst the entire state. So I think they gave $200,000 grants to like 10 communities. So, but there has to be, there's certain guidelines, there's certain criteria you have to meet, and it's a matching program. So they give you X and you put up X. If we could certainly get money, I suggest we pursue it, but it hasn't been successful. I asked Andrew Hall, who used to be the coordinator here at the commission, and he said, you know, there's no free money out there. No one's giving you money. He said it's going to be a complete waste of time. But we can pursue it. If there's $106 million for the CSO program, let's go find it. But, you know, that's...
Tony, has anybody talked to you about this?
No, just what I heard back at the public meeting that took place when it was initially suggested.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner.
when you have things like Hurricane Sandy, there is budgeted money, and that isn't something that, like, hey, we're gonna fund, there's gonna be a big hurricane coming, it's gonna happen, we're gonna fund. We have a general line item in the federal government that funds a department that has within its budget funds to allocate for things that go to the nature of a severe impact like we're having with raw sewage in people's basements on a regular basis to alleviate that. And we're also awarded by the federal government and through a different department, and the state DEP is a joiner in that we have to do that project. It also, severe impact, if you have contact with the contaminants that those people said at that meeting they do, I think you have a good application. Peabody got money. Peabody took money out of their own budget and did stuff. There's many people that got money. If we have a professional firm that has people that actually do these grants, we have an opportunity to get some money. It's a substantial project, and so I think it behooves us to try to reduce that impact on the ratepayers. This is what these programs are for. They go down the Cape, they do, you're seeing them taking fill and moving fill. There's many people making applications across the state that have benefited from it. We should do the same thing other people do. And we should try to get those funds, especially where it's reoccurring, and it has for decades. So that's one program that's available. And if you go to the Boston Water and Sewer website, anybody that wants to read about that, there's a link to these programs, and you can read about it. So they know about it, and they put it out there for their ratepayers, so they know about it. Boston's had to do things and been awarded before. I think it's a good shot. If it's a shot to get some money, for the amount of money do you have any idea what the application cost might be for something like this?
No.
Well, I think he's gonna report back to us next month.
We would clearly provide what level of effort would be required to go through the process.
And the costs for,
Exactly, yeah.
okay.
You have no estimated cost or no idea what it would cost?
Not at this point, no.
Or how much money is available?
No. Not sitting here right now. I mean, I can certainly find out and report back to the
We need
commission.
a scope of work and a price tag associated with what's gonna be involved.
Exactly.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I'll accept that friendly amount.
Okay, well, I don't think we'll get a motion. It's just, he's got his marching orders, and I think that under the agenda here was discussion, and I think we're all satisfied, and hopefully next month you'll have some good news for
Well,
us.
can we make a motion and vote on that, or?
If you'd like
So it's an
to.
action.
Can our guys find out if there's money available? Can't Anthony or Danny or whoever else is on our staff? We have an engineering department. Can you guys find out if there's money available?
Sure, we can work on.
Yeah, I mean, why hire someone or pay someone if you
Yeah.
don't have to? I mean, do you have the capacity to do that right now, or are you?
Yeah, we've done it in the past, I think, as Dan alluded to earlier. Andy Hall, I assigned Andy Hall to work on it.
When we did it in-house, it wasn't successful.
It wasn't successful, the money was
There are
very...
people that's what their jobs are, putting in grants. There are people that go to school, get degrees in grant
If there's
writing.
money available, Dave, there's money available.
Well, I wanna see that money, I think you wanna see that money. I don't wanna pay more than we have to.
Commissioner Capano.
But at least finding out how much money is available and, you know, how you gain access to that money, that we can find that out. We can,
How much is it
any one of
gonna
us
cost
could call
us?
and find that out. That's
And
fine.
that's what we're
fine,
looking
yeah.
for, so.
Yeah, that's-
I mean, I
so
don't
we
wanna
can do
spend
it
money
in-house.
for a
No, I
useless
understand.
thing.
No,
We
it
can
makes
do it in-house.
perfect
It's
sense.
not an unfunded.
Yeah. And we
Is
can
there-
find out how much money is
is-
available.
Is there a motion to that effect? You wanna make
I
a
motion
motion?
to that effect.
Okay.
Okay, then
motion.
we
I'll
will do
second
it
it.
in-house, okay, it's seconded. Roll call on that, or is there any discussion, further
Yeah.
discussion? Commissioner Ellis?
If we're gonna do it in-house, I would like the engineering staff to support that. He has a retainer here to do that work. When we've done it totally in-house, we haven't been successful. He has people that actually know how to do that, that's what their jobs are. I don't think it should be a huge amount of money just to
Commissioner,
hold
could
his
you
hand.
clarify, we haven't been successful, you're not reflecting on
All I
the
can-
performance of the in-house staff. It
I'm
may be
saying-
that the grants just were not available as
No,
the
that's
executive
not
director
what I'm
pointed out.
saying. I'm saying, just like on the city side, when we had professional grant writers write grants, we did that. And the city of Lowell Police Department hired 7 people that went to school to write grants. They got enough grants for the police department that equaled the whole budget for the city of Lowell for that year. You do a lot better with somebody that, I wouldn't have somebody do the bond counsel work with our bond counsel.
Could you address the board?
I am addressing
Commissioner?
him.
Oh, you're turning your back over
I am, yes.
there. Okay, Commissioner
Just
Capano.
one thing, there's like two different things here. There's the issue of applying for the money. All I was saying with my motion, all I meant was finding how much
Right.
money is available.
If there's
You know,
money
if there's
available.
Yeah, and I think there is, because I've called.
Well,
so-
I agree. Let them
and I
find
didn't
out if
ask
there's
how much
money
is
available.
and how much people.
All I'm saying
We
is,
could get that
all I'm
information.
saying is, Mr. through the chair, is if there's money available, hey, we all want it.
Sure,
Okay, no question about
I-
it. But I don't
I-
wanna hire an engineering company and pay them buku money to find out there isn't money available. That's what I'm saying, and I think our staff is capable of calling and finding that
Can we get
out.
an answer as
Okay.
to how much that department has in their budget for disaster relief funding? That's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know what their line item is.
You'd have to, yeah.
I
that-
mean, we could call it, hey, Chris, I think we
We have
can
to
do
find out
that.
what's available for people like us.
Okay,
Yeah,
One water
that's
and
right,
sewer.
absolutely.
There's a motion and a second,
that's
that's the
what I'm
motion,
saying
right?
here. that-
Yeah,
that's what
Okay,
we're-
we need, no further discussion, roll call on that motion.
Commissioner Capano?
Yes.
Commissioner Ellis?
Yes.
Commissioner Tucci?
Yes.
Commissioner Trahan?
Yes.
And Commissioner Wood?
Yes, okay. Any other new business?
Yes.
Commissioner?
One of the things that was brought up that residents had concerned over was the maintenance of our system. We have a order from that's joined by the local DEP that has a substantial interest in this issue with the federal government, that we have to maintain our system, and we had to send a response to them. We all got a document from our department head that has newly stepped into that position, saying he does not have the staff to be able to do the required once-a-year cleaning of all the catch basins in the system, or the maintenance. I think that's something that we should address immediately and try to get that staff filled. We all got that correspondence, and to not do that, we're in violation, and we've received violation notices on that. And that does impact and make flooding, especially in the areas in Ward 6 that are low-lying, like Varnum Street, where they recently had to go out and actually jet it, and you could see huge amount of debris on the street before that was jetted. So I think that's an issue that we have to take on and make sure that that staff member, I don't see him here tonight, that we get that resource in place for him, because he said he can't do that job that's required.
Dan, do you have any comments on that?
I think we should conduct a financial analysis relative to how to achieve some of the goals that Commissioner Ellis mentioned, relative to maybe contracting out some of the basins by a professional a company that does strictly catch basin cleaning, as opposed to hiring new employees and buying new equipment and going that route. So I think we should investigate a little bit into what our alternatives are prior to whatever the recommendation here would be.
I think I'd also like to hear from the department head, so do we want to set this down at the next meeting?
Yeah, maybe we should hear from Larry. He's not here
To the
tonight.
chair,
Sure.
why isn't Larry here? Shouldn't this be at our meeting?
Yeah, he should be. Did he have a commitment tonight again?
He didn't mention anything.
He
Yeah.
wasn't here at the last meeting. Can we make it so that, I don't know if we have to pay him extra or whatever, but, if we have questions, we wanna ask. I wanna
Yeah,
be
he's
able
told to
ask.
be here. I'll write him up tomorrow. We'll discipline him.
Well, we didn't
We
ask him
didn't
to
go
do
that far, no.
I
Don't
won't.
be,
Well, you said 2 meetings in a row. I don't know.
All right, well, just
He's
find out
told to
what's going
attend. I'm
on
not
and ask him
sure.
if he can attend our
If he
meetings.
doesn't, we-
Find out what
yeah.
the problem is.
Okay.
What I just,
We're not getting into
what I
that.
just
Okay.
asked, could we have him here at the next meeting so that we could
Okay.
have this on the agenda? I think that's reasonable.
Commissioner
Yeah,
Capano.
would it be possible to have a list of alternatives for the next meeting? Or you said-
We'll perform a financial analysis.
So the next meeting we'll have some,
More information.
more information.
Facts and figures, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, any other new business that, for discussion?
We don't need to vote on that, right?
No.
No.
Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second motion, all those in favor?
Aye.